the projectile flies, it loses velocity. And as it starts to lose velocity, it starts to lose a lot of its damaging characteristics. So if you think of, you know, I don't really know what to use here, but at those distances, pretty much all of its energy's gone. Like, it's going to be like getting hit with a rock. It's not actually going to penetrate and actually do any damage to the internal organs at all at those ranges. 300 meters with a 9mm, it's like, is it going to fucking hurt? Yes. Is it going to punch through some skin? Maybe. But it's not going to be, like, ballistically lethal. Like, it's not going to punch through to my fucking heart and, you know, incapacitate me like that. It might, you know, penetrate maybe an inch or two into my skin. It's going to still fucking hurt.
They had with the Thompson back in World War II.
What? The Thompson? Thompson was 45 ACP. The reason the government used the 45 was because it was a big, heavy slug, but it moved very slow. It didn't have a lot of range. You were not shooting a 45 ACP at 300 meters, period. It will, like, you can try. So 10mm, like I said, is like one of the most, it's the most powerful semi-automatic cartridge out there in terms of ballistic lethality. It completely shits all over the 50 AE, which is the 50 Action Express. That's what your Desert Eagle uses. So the 10mm has a very high velocity and a big projectile. It's usually a 200 grain bullet flying about 12 to 1300 feet per second. When you calculate that in the numbers, 10mm has more energy, so more like actual punch energy at 200 yards than a 45 has at the muzzle. So literally imagine getting shot with a 1911 directly like at the muzzle, like you're literally touching the muzzle. A 10mm has more energy at 200 yards than the 45 does at the muzzle. That's a very, very large. You're talking like 7. What's up?
You said it had more energy than
a 45 does at the muzzle. So the 10mm has more energy after it's flown 200 yards than the 45 does at the muzzle. And obviously, as a projectile flies, it gets slower. So the fact that it still has more energy than a 45 does even coming out of the fucking barrel.
So is that more powerful than a 500 Express?
That's not a semi-auto. That is that's a revolver. That's a whole different concept, because a revolver doesn't require unlocking and locking of a slide to operate. It can be very rigid. You can have very monstrous power loads because it just locks up. A pistol semi-auto requires to be able to, you know, cycle, and most big cartridges like that are rimmed for revolvers and not, you know, semi-rimmed for the self-loader, and it doesn't work out. But so even then, right? So 10mm, very viable. It's got a lot of power. It's got a pretty good velocity. I seen somebody shoot out to 200 meters with it, and it was, for one, very difficult because he had to hold like 3 foot over the target, and then you also got to look at accuracy, right? Like projectiles like that aren't inherently very accurate because they're big, heavy fucking pills. They don't have, you know, a lot of aerodynamics to them like rifle rounds. So now you got to look at the spread, right? Like, so out of 10 shots, maybe 3 of them landed on your desired, you know, torso-sized target because there's just so much spread. So it's literally just it's ineffective. It's stupid to waste the ammunition trying to hit a target that far, even with an SMG, because most SMGs normally have a barrel length of sub 10 inches. So when you look at a pistol, which usually has either a barrel length of, you know, 3 to 5 inches, depending on the platform, it's not even viable to do that. You know, you're talking about 5 more inches of barrel length, which it does increase the ballistics quite a bit. It's not worth it. Or you can get a 5.56 that has, you know, plenty of capability at those ranges that absolutely devastate people. It's just like, yeah. Where we're at, like I said, where we're at right now in small arms development, there's not really much we can go from here in terms, besides changing different types of bullets and things like that. Other than that, we're pretty solidified. Until there's the next generation of, like, you know, fucking, you know, electronic weapons. Exactly. It's just nothing's really gonna phase out what we're doing. One day, but again, it's got to be it can't be cost prohibitive, and it's got to be, you know, viable. You know, does it change the name of the game enough to justify the cost?
What will they even like look like?
I don't know. People
Like,
back in the 50s didn't think, or in the 40s or 30s, think World War One. Think of World War One. Machine guns were like so revolutionary. Nowadays, we pretty much have machine guns in our hands. You know? Or think about, like,
now we have
they didn't even know
missiles.
what... Right, or a cell phone. Just think about that for a second. Even in the 40s. Think about the concept of a cell phone in the 40s. It's unfathomable. Who knows?
I mean, now we kind of have a good idea of what the future may
We
look
have
like.
an idea, but there's no way to really, like,
Back
tell
then
what's
they
going
had
on.
no idea. Now we do.
But do we?
I think so. I mean, I think we have a pretty good grasp of what a change in technology could look like versus our
Das
ancestors.
Ziel dort muss gehalten werden.
Maybe.
I think we're in a unique seat that our ancestors were because we've seen such
Da! Es ist ein feindlicher Panzerwagen.
significant advance in technology in such a short time, and we're the only humans
Das
in
da!
a
Dort
100
müsst ihr
year
vorsichtig
lifespan
sein.
that have seen that versus all the other generations past. So I think we have a unique perspective
Gefahr
that
da
they
drüben!
didn't have.
Potentially. I still think a lot of stuff is unfathomable in terms of like what it'll actually look like or how it'll work.
Well, yeah, I mean, we would actually know the design of it was made. We know what we want it to do. We know what. Yeah, we know what we want it to do. It's like a starship. You know, we know what we want it to do. So it's gonna be a ship that we're in it and it goes in space, goes to planets, but we don't really know what it's gonna look like. But see, if you said like, I don't know, space shuttle to someone back in, 1900, they'd be like, what? But 100 years from now, we can imagine, some sort of spaceship with a warp drive thing.
Yeah, but what if it's not a spaceship? What if it's something completely different that, it's not even a spaceship at that point? What if it's like teleportation?
Yeah, but like again, we invented the concept of the house. Back then they didn't even have the concept.
Panzer da drüben!
Oh, they had the concept of flight, and that's what they were pursuing.
Yeah, flight.
Right?
Birds fly.
Well, I mean, the first airplane was developed in, what, 1901? 3?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, they had hot air balloons way before that.
Yeah.
They had hot air balloons like in the 1860s. So they still knew about like flying. They were trying to bring that
Handgranate
to
geworfen!
the forefront with like blimps and shit. So blimps were out before airplanes.
It was 1903. I'm drunk as shit. But it was 1903.
Thank you, Kevin.
What?
I said thank you. Anyway, guys, I gotta get to bed, man. God,
Feindlicher Panzer!
This man's got a lot of hypothetical questions.
Dude. I don't know. Fucking good, brother.
I mean, it's cool to think. It's just like, a lot of it is just, like I keep saying, like, it's not fathomable. Like, I don't know. Because I can't even think.
I don't think he likes me being honest with you. I want to ask him something. Like, bro, how old are you? If he's under the age of 38, I'm gonna fuck
Wir
him.
müssen das Ziel da verteidigen!
That's what I'm.
Oh yeah, he does ask a lot about military.
Let's do it here. Just fucking
Es ist ein Panzer!
number to your local reserve. Fuck off. Go to Space Force.
Space Force be lit.
Well, he asks a lot of fucking questions about
Luftunterstützung erforderlich.
railgun,
Sperrfeuer auf diese
spaceships,
Position.
like crazy shit. There are fucking R&D department. I said I'm drunk as shit. He got off.
I honestly hope they take it. But I need to get this assignment done. Just trying to finish the fucking M1 mastery.
Trying to get a gold?
No, just mint. I don't really like the gold. I think the gold's kind of fucking stupid looking, honestly. Did he take it?
Yeah, they got it.
Yes! 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 It's the last piece I need too, so it's I gotta get 4 headshots in 1 life while defending objective areas. Yep. Yep, one of those. Oh, well, especially with an M1, dude. It's like, come on, bro. Like, what do you want from me? And it's not the M1 Grand, it's the M1 Carbine.
You said an M1A1 carbine?
That M1 life.
We must not let the enemies take the sector.
Better start marking these objectives, man. Get them points. Start calling arties and shit.
Ihr sollt das Ziel dort
Saw a
verteidigen.
couple already. Just for fun.
Grab a drink.
I don't drink, so. Well, let's not say I don't drink. I just don't really drink. At all.
They started selling fucking Lucky Strikes again, dude. I'm happy as shit for that.
Ooh, I miss Lucky Strikes, man. When I lived in Virginia, you could get them for like $3 a pack. But back home, like they were like $10 plus because they just sat on the shelves all the time and never sold.
I went to the gas station last night. I was like, yo, dude, this is a pack of Lucky Strikes. And it just so happened to be the original Lucky Strikes. The paper, like that paper fucking,
Yeah, like the soft pack.
yeah, non-fucking filtered. And I was like, oh my god.
That's the only way to do Lucky Strikes. LFMTO. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Oh.
Dude, I literally, like, I used to buy cartons of them all the time, and that's all I smoked was fucking Lucky Strikes. I was in love. And no one understood, man. No one got it. It was like, what the fuck? Them bitches, the first time I hit one, dude, I bought one, and, bro, I was walking home, and I had the biggest head high ever, dude. I was like, whoo, I was like getting hit by a fucking truck, dude. I was not expecting it. Because I used to smoke Newports beforehand, so.
Well, I've always smoked Marlboro Red.
I used to dabble in. I would switch up between Newports and like Marlboro Menthol. I smoked Reds for a little while. I wasn't really a big fan. There was not real flavor there that I liked. The Lucky Strikes, they tasted. Obviously, they're honey roasted. Like, they're good, but.
I walked into the gas station like a week ago, Buy a pack of Marlboro Reds.